Chef Sanaa, please join us. Good morning, everyone. Wow, I see familiar faces in the front row. What a wonderful opportunity and morning, and to share with all of you our love and passion for food. What unites us is our love for humanity, for lifting up community, and for eating really delicious food. And we know that really good food comes from love. It comes from a good heart. And I'm surrounded today by chefs who love what they do, who love lifting up their communities, and who cook with love. So I'm gonna ask some questions before we start cooking, because I'm sure that's what you all are here for, to smell something delicious and maybe even taste something. We'll get to that. Chef Sanaa, welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a fascinating story. You built this restaurant inspired by your culture and your family. Talk to us a little bit about your story and what got you into food.
So I was born and grew up in Damascus, Syria. My father was a farmer, so I went to agricultural engineering. So when I graduated, I went to my dad and I started giving him instruction, big mistakes. So he looked at me and he said, "You don't know nothing." He said bad word, but I'm not gonna say it. So that's why I ended up in America, supposedly to get my graduate degree in horticulture. While I'm in California, actually, I met a professor. She convinced me to switch to food and nutrition. So I have a master's degree in food and nutrition. I went back to DC to get a PhD. I met my husband, who was from South Dakota. Talk about like, and then after I said I do, he said, "Oh, I'm moving back to South Dakota." First time I'm in the Midwest. And so I got there, you know, I was born in Damascus, 6 million people. I went to LA, I don't know how many million people live there. I went to DC, so here I am in middle nowhere. And I was going crazy. So in order to save our marriage, my husband said, "Why don't you do something you really like?" And he knows I'm cooking all the time. So I opened my restaurant in South Dakota, in meat and potato state, and I started cooking beans and grain, lentil, garbanzo beans, fava beans, and everybody thought I'll close in 6 months. That was 22 years ago.
Woo! Wow, talk about life advice. Just get up, move somewhere you don't know, and do what you love. It will never fail you. What a beautiful story and good life advice. As Chef Eitan, you are incredible, inspiring. You lead with such love and passion in your work. You've got a really outstanding social media following. Tell us a little bit about your story cooking and how you use your platforms to educate your community about food security.
Yeah, so I started working in food when I was 11 years old. I competed on a show, maybe people who are not from this country don't know, but Chopped, which kind of like MasterChef, which they have in a lot of other countries. And I competed when I was 11. I actually lost in the first round.
Oh,
but
man.
I turned it into something great, and from there I started creating content online and found that there were people interested in what I was cooking and what I had to share. And from there, I've since then written a cookbook, Eitan Eats the World. I work on the Drew Barrymore show on CBS as a culinary contributor, and really just share my passion of food. And the way that I got into the food insecurity space is, you know, I work with food all day long. I have, you know, I'm fortunate and grateful that I have a fridge full of food, a pantry full of food, and with working with food, I became incredibly aware how fortunate I was, how lucky I was to have that access to food. And so I love storytelling, I love sharing my travels, what I learned from other people. I'm a lifelong learner, and so I use my platform to talk about food insecurity. I'm a high-level supporter of the World Food Program to highlight the work they do. I work with a local organization in New York City called City Harvest. And I've done quite a bit of travel to try to be able to, you know, I'm not an expert, you all here are experts, but I have the ability to share the work and the stories and the knowledge of experts with my audience. And so that's really what I focus on is I do know quite a bit about food insecurity just from what I've learned from other experts, but rather than coming as an expert to my audience, I kind of learn along with them.
I love that. Round of applause for our chefs. Truly inspiring. Now, we're gonna get to the fun stuff. We're making 2 different dishes using crops that most of us have in our pantries or have access to at our markets or even in our farms. So Chef Sanaa, tell us about the dish you're making and what inspired it.
So I'm making fatat hummus. Fatat hummus is garbanzo beans fatat. Hummus, that actually was an Arabic name for garbanzo beans. And it's an ingenious recipe that's used a long time ago for people to not waste. So you take old bread and you boil garbanzo beans with very inexpensive ingredient, very healthy. You put them together and you have a complete protein. So that was an ingenious way that our great-grandmother thought about to feed her kids. And I make it in the restaurant in South Dakota, and every time I tell my mom people pay money to eat it, she laughs because she said, American pay money to eat this? I said, yes. That's what I'm making for you.
Everyone say hummus.
Hummus.
Say it again, hummus. All right, that sounds delicious. And Chef Eitan, what are you making today?
So I'm going to be making a dish that I learned how to make on a trip to India. I was working with an organization called Project Gabriel that helps communities that have been historically not given state funding and not helped as much in India. And they were talking about finger millet, which very recently has become kind of acknowledged for how incredible it is and how nutrient dense it is. And in this village, they were talking about we've known this for a while. And so I'm gonna be making a finger millet flatbread with the chickpea curry that they taught me, and I'll talk a bit more about that while we're cooking.
Fantastic. All right, so are you both ready to step into your kitchens and start cooking?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, let's get cooking. All right. So we have 2 screens, and you can look at the screens if you can't see up front. We have screens, and we'll have some overhead monitors. And so, what's wonderful about these 2 chefs is how connected their stories are to family. Part of my story is I came to the World Food Prize when I was a high school student. I went to a school in New York City called Food and Finance High School. Yes, it exists, it is real. And I learned how to cook there. But I also got involved in my local 4-H program, and because of that, I was introduced to the World Food Prize. Before that, I was introduced to the New York Youth Institute, and at the New York Youth Institute, I learned about the World Food Prize. And so I came here when I was a sophomore in high school. It was my first time in Iowa. I was like, wow, there's so many cows, there's so much grass. I'm a New York City boy. And I met so many incredible leaders and who later became mentors. I met friends, I met peers who became lifelong peers and mentors. And little did I know that I would be on this stage 15 plus years later, presenting and sharing my story. But I know that it could not have been possible without incredible leadership and without the World Food Prize organization and without the support of folks who believed in me as a young high school kid from South Jamaica, Queens in New York City, who believed that my dreams were possible, that my passion for food had a purpose, and that somehow I could make sense of it in a meaningful career. So that's why I'm here today. I went to China, Beijing, China, for 3 months to study with the World Food Prize, and then I was also working with the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, at the USDA through the Wallace Carver internship. Wow, never knew that that would be part of my story, but I am so grateful that I said yes to the World Food Prize, and that's why I'm here today. A little bit about me. So Chef Sanaa, tell me a little bit about what you're doing. What do we got going on here?
So I'm just boiling the garbanzo beans. They are parboiled.
Okay.
And usually I put a lot of garlic in it. As you saw, I only slivered garlic because I have a mercy on you. It's early in the morning to have so much garlic. And
never too early for garlic.
I know, I know. But just in case you have another meeting or you're meeting somebody special.
Okay.
And then the salsa is just yogurt with tahini, which is an ingredient used a lot in the East Mediterranean.
Yes.
Cumin, all the good stuff. Cumin is good for the gas. So when you eat garbanzo beans, if you have cumin, you're okay. And basically, you're using old bread, and that's the idea. So when you have 2 days old bread, you don't waste it. You use it in these dishes. So it's win-win. And garbanzo, and then we have some pomegranate seeds, just for decoration. You don't have to have them, and scallion, and that's it.
Fabulous. Now, tahini is actually ground up
It's a pureed sesame seed.
of sesame seeds, right? And that's the sort of predominant ingredient outside of the garbanzo bean
So
within
if you're
hummus.
making, like in America, you may have peanut butter.
Yes.
In the East Mediterranean, tahini.
Wow. So would it be like a tahini and jelly, or?
Oh, you make tahini.
That sounds kind of delicious.
It does.
Oh yeah, tahini with date.
Yes.
Fantastic. Tahini with maple syrup, to die for.
Wow.
I use it for everything.
Wow, I'm getting hungry just thinking about that. And I never thought to actually use the day-old bread in a recipe like this. I think when, as Americans, we may think of using a day-old bread for maybe croutons, or maybe, holidays are coming up, maybe in a dressing or a stuffing recipe. But this is really innovative. And talk about the lack of waste in all of this.
So that's what I'm saying. You can use all bread. So even sometimes we deep fry it and we give it in the pantry. So anytime you make a salad, you make a soup, you bring everything is ready. So bread is the basic of every cuisine. So never should waste any bread. So even in the restaurant, we make it into crouton and then we give them to customers to take them home, have them for their soup and their salad. No food waste.
I must say, for day-old bread, that tastes really, really fresh. Round of applause for Chef Sanaa.
Hello.
Hello. I don't see fire, but I feel heat coming from this side of the kitchen already. What are you working on right now?
All right, so I've already made the kind of batter that I'm going to make the flatbreads out of. So the villager's name was called Makada, and they showed me two ways that they made the finger millet. Mm-hmm. One was in a flatbread similar to like a roti, which is usually made out of wheat flour, which is obviously like a dough that you knead and that you roll out. One that was a little more flavorful they showed me is actually a batter one, which is similar to like more of like an uttapa, which is typically made out of like lentils and rice.
Yes.
In this case, finger millet. So I made this kind of thick batter. I'm gonna let it sit. It's ideal if it ferments a bit. It's not gonna ferment at all because we have 24 minutes on the clock.
We sure do.
It'll at least develop a bit. And then over here, I'm starting on the actual chickpea dish, just kind of toasting my spices, a little bit of cumin and mustard seeds.
Now, you were on a show I was also on. You were 11. I was young, in my young 20s, but you were on Chopped.
Yes.
So you know a little bit about cooking under pressure.
I'm familiar, yes.
Yeah. So do you think it's possible to get all of this done in the 24 minutes that we have left?
Oh, yeah, easy.
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 Okay. Wonderful. Round of applause for Chef Eitan.
Love a time constraint.
One of the things I really love about cooking and food is how it brings us all together. And Chef Sanaa, you talked a little bit yesterday. You told me about your grandmother who inspired you how to cook. Can you tell us a little bit about your grandmother? Who was she to you, and how did she inspire you in the kitchen?
So, like I said, I was born and grew up in Damascus, but my father bought a small land and he enlarged it on an area by the Mediterranean. So the minute the school closed, we go back there. And my grandparents' home were about 3 kilometers from our home. So every morning, I hate to sleep at my grandparents' home because they had an outhouse. I didn't want to go to the outhouse. So every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I go uphill to my grandparents' home just to watch my grandmother milking the cow, making cheese, and then she has the dough, and then she makes fresh bread with za'atar on it on a stone oven.
Wow.
And the smell stayed with me, and it drove my parents crazy because, I'm an engineer. I don't know anybody overseas, they know you should be either an engineer or a doctor. Chef is not a profession, and they freaked out actually when I quit my job and became a chef, but it is what it is. But it's the influence from my grandmother smelling all this fresh smell, and that's actually what I want to do, what I keep doing in my restaurant, fresh, fresh, fresh.
Fresh, fresh, fresh. Now, is there a place for engineering in the kitchen in what you do today?
Absolutely. The way I feel, it's all a circle. So I know the soil. I grew up in a farm with my parents, and I know how you grow food. And then as a dietitian, I know what role it should be in your body. And as a chef, my role is to introduce, like I did with South Dakota, introduce people to the finest ingredient, the bean, the grain, the stuff, the one is going to sustain our agriculture.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I wish all of you could smell what I'm smelling.
Can you guys smell it at maybe the first row? No?
Try. Can you?
No?
You get some garlic. You get some
hopefully,
onion.
it's a big room. Hopefully soon there'll be some smells wafting there.
One of the wonderful things about being here today and sharing your gifts for food and cooking is the role that you all play every single day in ending hunger. And it is a very practical role. It is a very hard grind of a working role, but you all do it with such grace. So Eitan, tell us a little bit about what it means to you when you actually put a dish in front of someone and they're able to taste your creation, and what does that mean that you're actually feeding people in real time?
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite thing, and I'm gonna, so people can see me through the smoke. I mean, my favorite thing, I think, if you speak to a lot of cooks and chefs, is about food, is the people it brings together and the eating together, breaking bread together. Now that I live on my own, I'm 22, in case anyone couldn't tell. And a few years ago, I moved out. I grew up in New Jersey. I now live in New York City. And my favorite thing to do is host a dinner party. And there's just something so gratifying, so exciting about serving food that you cook to someone. And I think that joy and what brings us together through all my travels is, food really is the uniter. And I think food tells so much about history, about culture. And I think the world, how we eat is fascinating.
So fascinating.
I mean, one of the most fascinating, eating rituals that I can remember from my travels is I was in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and they eat traditionally as a family. So they have the giant platter with injera and all the different stews, and that really stuck with me because I think, living in New York City, half the time you're eating, you're running through to the subway, or you're not very mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it was just such a central time of eating together. That really just kind of resonated with me, and I thought was such a beautiful tradition.
Well, that's why I love to travel and cook and eat while I travel. I remember when I was interning with the World Food Prize in Beijing, China, studying at the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences, we had two different kitchens. We had one kitchen where there was no pork allowed, and then we had the other kitchen where there was pork allowed. So I would usually cook in the kitchen that there was, where pork was allowed. And I remember gathering my students, friends, who were at the time, they were all earning their PhDs in food science. And I said, I want to make for you a traditional American meal. Now, my father was a chef from Alabama. He was from the South. So I grew up learning how to make soul food. My mother was from Guyana in South America, so I also knew how to make Guyanese food. And I went and I hunted for collard greens in the supermarkets in Beijing.
Very easy to find.
Very easy to find, if only. It was so hard to find. So I decided I was going to use bok choy. And I used bok choy, and I did the same technique as I would for collard greens. And I made stewed bok choy. I made some barbecue chicken, and I think I made mashed potatoes. And it was a beautiful exchange of culture. I was able to share my culture with them, and they were able to share with me very traditional Chinese food. So that's part of why I love to travel. Now, I'm smelling something like ghee or butter.
Ghee.
Ghee!
Can I come over here? This smells great.
Chef, you have to stay in your station.
Okay. I'll watch on the screen.
Okay, tell us about, I'm only kidding. Tell us about what's in this pot. It smells so good.
So it's ghee, and actually ghee, it's also another ingenious way that our ancestors thought about. Because
Yes.
if you clarify the butter, you can keep it in a jar for about 1 year. It doesn't go rancid.
Wow.
Because they didn't have refrigeration. So actually my mother, for her dad, what she did, she would saute ground beef in a huge jar. It's all ghee and beef, and put them in the pantry for him, no refrigeration. Whenever he went to make soup, he just take a spoon from that, put the vegetables and the broth, and he has this meat.
I love a dietitian that loves working with ghee. That's pretty unusual, I must say, in my experience.
Yeah, but you see, everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
No deprivation, everything in moderation.
There you go. So where's that going now, chef? Right on this.
So ideally, I would have pine nuts with the ghee.
Ooh.
But because we don't want to make sure that somebody have a nut allergy, there is no pine nuts. Because the idea also to have textures. So you don't want everything to be soft. So when
Yes.
you have textures, you enjoy the meal more. Now as a dietitian, you chew more, so you take time, so you don't overeat. You get full.
Really smart. So is there also butter in that, or garlic? I'm smelling something like garlic.
Oh, garlic's in this.
Oh, this is where the garlic's
You
at.
smell burn?
Okay.
So
I don't smell anything burning. Are you burning something, Chef?
No, no.
Oh, okay, okay. So tell us
It's called
what's
browning.
browning. Yes, yes, of course. We had a little conversation yesterday. So we've all had, you know, stories where things did not come out exactly as we expected. Some may call it a kitchen nightmare. But what we've all learned is that it's not really how you start, it's how you finish. And so whatever you decide to put on the plate or however things come out, it's important to name the dish that you cook, not the dish you intended to cook.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that's
Important for a dinner party.
Exactly, so important for a dinner party. People don't know exactly what you started or intended to do.
And when you're a chef, they trust you, they believe you. Just say, oh yeah, no, this is an American dish.
Chef Sanaa, you told a really funny story yesterday about a dish that was a whoops that you named. Can you tell us about that story?
So it's, you know, like I said, you know, I'm in America and everything, so I went back home for my sister graduations, and everybody's cooking, and because I'm the chef. Anyway, they just gave me as one assignment, tabbouleh. Tabbouleh, if anybody doesn't know it, is just finely chopped parsley, bulgur wheat, tomatoes, sweet onion, lemon juice, olive oil. So the bulgur wheat's function in the tabbouleh is to take all the liquid. And
Yes.
it was August, and in the Mediterranean, all the parties are outdoor. So it's August, it's hot, and I have 40 bunches of parsley chopped fine. We put them on the table, guests came, nobody touched it. Tabbouleh is usually very popular salad, nobody touched it. And I'm looking, and there's something going on. It's just becoming like green, ugly green soup. And then everybody asked my sister, like, what's this? And my sister said, no, ask Sanaa. So I looked and I realized what happened, so I forgot the bulgur. So the liquid from the parsley kept coming out with the heat, just like a swamp, basically. So I said, oh, it's an American soup they make in the South.
Isn't that a great story?
They believed me.
And then it was all gone.
No, nobody touched it. They
Oh,
said,
no one still touched it. Okay. We'll have to redeem ourselves one day, make that soup.
Yep.
So, Chef, tell me
Yes.
a little bit about what's going on in this pot. I see now you've added garbanzo beans as well.
Yes, in here, so I sauteed down our onions, our garlic, then added some tomatoes. You want to cook them until kind of the oil releases.
Smells
Just
so
hard
good.
to do quickly on stage, but I almost got there.
Yeah.
Added the garbanzo beans in, tons of spices, chili powder, turmeric, cumin, coriander, little garam masala, and been cooking that down with the chickpeas. Added a little bit of spinach, just for a little extra nutrients.
Yes.
And yeah, can anyone now smell it, maybe? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah. It smells so good and it looks so wonderful, and the color that is in this pan is so beautiful. So, Chef, do you have a worst cooking story or any disasters that have happened?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I had a very big sweet tooth as a kid, and I loved making candy. And so one time I set out to try to make homemade soft caramels.
Ooh.
And I wasn't as, you know, I didn't think it through enough. And I was like, oh, I'm not just going to make some salted caramels. I'm going to make a lot of salted caramels. And so I took a pot. It was probably triple the size of this. And I like quadrupled the recipe. It was filled before it started boiling, like about most of the way up. I was probably 13 at the time, to be clear. And, you know, if anyone here has ever boiled sugar, it goes up. Let's just say there was molten caramel sugar all over my parents' kitchen.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that was not the best or smartest move, and that was before I learned to clean.
Well, now
Now I clean, now that I live on my own.
you have to clean.
If I don't wash the dishes, no one will.
I know. Yesterday, my phone went off. I was saying something to Chef Sanaa, and then my phone said something to me. And actually, no, it wasn't you. It was someone else. But I thought it was you. And my phone went off, and they said, what is that? And I said, oh, it's my phone talking to me. And they said, wow, I didn't know that your phone can speak to you. And I said, yes, I actually can tell it to clean my house, and it will clean my house.
Lucky you.
One day.
You have a Roomba?
The Roomba. Okay, so chefs, we've got about 12 minutes now on the clock. It looks like you're almost done. Looks like
I speak too fast and I cook too fast, but the food is good.
The food is good? Can I get
That
an early
looks great.
taste? Can we both have an
Yeah,
early
while
taste?
mine's finishing,
Absolutely,
can we,
yeah. Absolutely. Look
So
how-
what's the best way to eat this? Can you all see this?
The eye eat before the mouth. So
Round of applause for Chef Sanaa.
absolutely beautiful.
I mean, outdid yourself. Okay, so just a spoon works?
Please, and make sure you have some bread, some sauce, the garbanzo beans, the whole thing.
Okay, you know what? With all due respect to everyone watching, I'm going to use my hands. There you go.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
And there's no garlic. You can imagine with garlic, 10 times better, in my opinion.
But you
Oh,
know
I
what?
love the ghee.
The ghee?
Yeah, of course,
The
yeah.
way this is all working, it's like layered.
Yeah.
It's so deeply layered. It's so complex for being so simple.
And you have different textures. You have the bread, you have the garbanzo beans, you have the sauce, you have the...
Wow, that's delicious.
I was trying to take this off stage.
Oh. I thought it was a gift for me.
Chef Sanaa.
Got it, okay.
I mean, you have
Wow, that's delicious.
outdone yourself. Round of applause for that.
Thank you.
What's wonderful about this is it comes from a place in your community and culture that has history. This is a refined presentation of something that is so ancient.
So ancient, yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And it allows for folks like myself who have less connection to your cultural experience to be able to experience this and say, wow, I feel like I know where you come from. Like I know your story just through this dish. What do you love about this dish?
Well, first, like I said, it's a dish that is from Damascus. So, I mean, now they make it all over Syria, but genuinely it started in Damascus. So they call it fattat. Fattat, basically, any dish is with bread, sauce, and a protein. And if you have like a very important guest, usually in Syria, they would put lamb shank in it. And actually, I have a story for you. My grandfather loved meat. But my mom was making this dish, and she's making for us. So he was digging and digging and digging and digging, and he said, "What's this? There's no meat." But this is a popular dish, and you have now restaurants. They open 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to work, and that's what you eat. And again, it's a very inexpensive ingredient. It's good ingredient for the soil, and it's good for the body. And as you see, it's good for the eyes, it's good for everyone.
Very good for the eyes. Well, you're done early. I'm going to take the spoon.
I know, I have to speak slower. My daughter said, "Mom, speak slowly and cook slower," but...
You're wonderful. You're just so lovely. Isn't she lovely? She's lovely.
Thank you.
Chefs, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What's one ingredient you feel you just cannot live without in your kitchen? One ingredient. Garlic?
Olive oil.
Oh, olive oil.
Oh, yes. Pepper. My mom actually is allergic to pepper, and so until I was like 17, we never used pepper in the house.
Like black pepper?
Like black pepper.
Wow.
And then I remember the first time I probably had it at restaurants, but the first time I knowingly ate it, I was like, oh my God, this is good.
Yes.
And it was like this just whole world opened up. And so yeah, black pepper. I put black pepper on everything.
Black pepper. Okay, is there a kitchen gadget that you feel you cannot live without?
Sharp knife.
Sharp knife.
Yes, that's important.
Now, most people who don't cook often, they don't know the importance of having a sharp knife. In fact, they may think it's really dangerous to have a sharp knife.
True.
But why is it important to have a sharp knife?
I mean, you can't, honestly, I don't see you can cook without sharp knife. I mean, that's how you get your vegetables, for me, it's like water.
Yes, it's essential.
We in our restaurant, because we chop everything fresh, every 3 months, we get a new set of knives. And we have a guy who sharpened our knife, and then our neighbors in the restaurant and in my neighborhood, I take the old knife and I give it to them. And then, so we spread the love everywhere.
Yes, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. I love that. What about you, chef?
Important equipment?
Equipment, gadget.
Sorry, I was deep in my...
Oh, I know. Look, I see what's happening here. It looks like a pancake is happening.
Yes, my first one, my pan wasn't hot enough. I'm new to the induction stovetop world.
It's okay.
Okay, we could end the close-up, just in case.
It looks really good.
Operating room. Oh, we're just going to stay on it. Oh, thank you. Okay.
There we are.
I don't know, let me make my, your first pancake is always the worst.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say, that's true.
Okay, no more close-ups of that. Anyways, my favorite piece of equipment in the kitchen, I mean, obviously, I'll give a different answer than a knife to be interesting, but it's, a chef's knife's super important. I have a weird answer. I think music.
Oh.
I love, it's honestly something with my job when I film cooking videos that the only part I really don't like is that when I'm filming, I can't play music because of copyright law in the video. But when I cook on my own, music is, I think, one of the most important. You gotta have a good vibe in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. I agree. If anybody's seen my Instagram post, they call me the crazy woman, the crazy chef, because it started with COVID, but same thing. I blast music loud, and that's actually why we kept our restaurant going. When we couldn't open, but we did special meals. So I do I put vegetables on my face, on my hair, and I did the crazy dance, and people will remember my restaurant. And that's so every time business is slow. If you see a dancing video, that's mean business is slow. So.
What about you? What is your go-to kitchen equipment?
First of all, I love both of your answers, sharp knife for sure, and music for sure. I think what I go to a lot these days, especially in the fall, is a good vegetable peeler.
Ooh, essential.
And I love having that because it does more than just cut through vegetables. If I want to shave some radishes, if I want to, cut anything thin, cut something that's really thin, I love having that.
True.
Or a wooden spoon. Can't live without a good wooden spoon. Well, chefs, I hear that you both love music, and I do sing a little bit. So
oh, really?
Maybe I'll gift all of you with a little bit of music.
We can dance.
Okay, quick. So we're making chickpeas at the World Food Prize. Making chickpeas at the World Food Prize. We're making chickpeas at the World Food Prize with Chef Eitan and Chef Sanaa.
Wow.
Little
Did you come up with that on the spot, or was that a pre?
Yeah, I came
Wow.
up with that on the spot. Are you cooking on the spot?
Yes. Actually, I have not made this since I was in India about a year ago. So.
In fact, not that I can tell. I can't.
Oh, yeah, no.
I cannot tell. Okay, I do want to taste
Yeah,
this
let's
as well.
try. Yeah. I don't know if you have any extra salt, Sanaa, over by there, but I could use a little.
That is
It's good.
wonderful.
Should be, hopefully, technically a little more time will add more flavor, but, we're working with what we can.
Good.
I actually, one of my professional doctors had informed me that to cook with a little less salt. For me.
Oh, then I did that for you.
You did that for me.
Yeah.
Because that is perfect for me.
Okay, I was thinking of you.
That is perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. That was perfect for me. So, we've got 3 minutes on the clock, and
Should we start plating? I feel like.
I think we can start plating. I've got a little treat in store for 4 people today who will come up on the stage and taste these delicious meals. Now, I can't see if I have any sauce on my face, but if I do, please let me know. Really good. I actually think we have we're gonna do it at random, and I think we have names that are gonna come up. So, don't blame me. Is Karan in the house? Karan. Welcome. Please make your way up on the stage.
All right.
Okay, let's see who's next. Pick me, pick me. Alina. Is Alina here? Where's Alina? Oh, hi, Alina. Lovely. Hi, please come join me here. Nice to meet you. Thank you. All right. While Alina makes her way, let's do another name. Alexander.
It's really good.
Thank you.
Hi.
I know the flatbread's quite yummy.
I see you making your way to the stage. All right, we've got room for one more. Room for one more. Let's see. Who's it gonna be? Sarah! Is Sarah here? Wow.
Eggs in it?
What?
Any eggs in it?
No.
Very good.
Just finger millet. And,
Lovely. Can we get a mic on the stage? A handheld mic, please?
Finger millet, chilies, tomato.
Hello, hello.
Very simple.
Very good.
Yeah.
Please make your way to the stage. Fantastic. Perfect. I'll give that to you. All righty, round of applause.
You are very generous with your serving.
Okay, so let's all
The
move
rest is for me.
in close, 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 so we're all on the screens. A little closer. We're gonna all be friends today. All right, can you all see us? No? Do we need to move over? Okay. Are we all there? Perfect. Okay, now I don't know about all of you, but these folks look a little young to me, don't they? And I've got to say, it means the world to see all of you standing up here. I want to get to know you. I want to hear from you. But just the fact that you're here and the fact that you are using your life and your youth to learn and to give, it means so much. So you should be proud of yourselves. So tell us a little bit about who you are, just a name, where you're from, and what brought you to the World Food Prize.
So I'm Karan Kanolkar, and I'm coming all the way from Washington State.
Woo!
And one reason why I come to the World Food Prize is because I want to learn more about food science and specifically how that intersections with agriculture. I think our food systems are an incredible part of how we give food to people. So I hope that food science can revolutionize that further.
And it will, and you will do that work. Thank you. Lovely
you so
to meet you.
much.
Hi, my name is Alina Sinchi, and I came here from New York.
Woo! My hometown.
And my reason to come here for the World Food Prize was about my research paper on India and the lack of sanitation and water shortage, which is something that I prioritize in, and to have more abilities and knowledge about other countries being unstable and the risk of other challenges.
Wonderful. Wow.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Hutchinson. I am from Massachusetts.
Woo!
I'm also very interested in food science, particularly food science for relief and development and different processing techniques that can be used to improve the consumer acceptability of different underutilized food crops. I'm here with the Global Youth Institute as a group leader for Group 18, so it's been a wonderful week so far.
Your group's in the house.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lewis, and I'm from Florida.
Woo!
I'm planning on majoring in food science next year in college. Just like they were saying, I'm really, really interested in food science and product development, and I came to the Global Youth Institute to learn more about that and to learn more about how different cultures relate to different foods.
Wonderful. Aren't they impressive? That is lovely. Well, you know why you're up here on this stage, not just to tell your amazing stories, which they are amazing, but to also taste some amazing food. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the back of the tables. Just go to the back. You can, make your way. Don't be shy. And I'll get back here too so you all can see. You each have a plate. Now, it is a tasting, so no pressure to finish
I
it.
left some for you. That's why I wasn't so generous.
Yeah, I'm going to take some while they taste.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, you can just give it a try.
Don't be afraid.
Chef Sanaa, what's going through your mind right now? Yeah. Isn't it true that no matter how often you cook a dish or how often you cook at all, it's every time it feels like the first time you're serving something?
You're always watching the people. If they wipe the dish, then you're...
Yes. A quiet dining room is a good sign. Or
No, actually, for
not
me,
always.
busy one. That's me.
A busy
People are
one.
happy.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
My restaurant is very noisy, and I like it that way.
There you go.
I love the pomegranate.
What do you love?
The pomegranate.
What do you love about it?
Oh, it's sweet.
Yes, it is sweet. Okay, how are you experiencing this?
I love all of the variety. It's like a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of sourness, a little bit of nuttiness, like the different textures. It's wonderful.
Wow, aren't they such great paid actors? I'm kidding. What do you think about it?
I think about like how there's a lot, the chickpeas are like really complementing the flavor and is like very flavorful with other like different various ingredients.
Another good actor. How about that? Okay, what do you think about it?
I think the day-old bread is actually carrying this dish, okay? And this is a good use of your day-old bread, so better get that bread out of your pantry and start using it, because this is so good.
There you go. You've heard it here first, folks. Round of applause for Chef Sanaa. Okay, you may place your dishes down here. Don't worry, no one will clear them. They will be here for you when we are done.
I like
there you go.
I like the pomegranates too.
So you remember the order.
Great, I'm on thirds.
Okay, so you remember the order there, and then you there, and then you there. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to transition to Chef Eitan's dish.
Hello, sorry.
Woo, woo.
Eating Sanaa. All right.
Make your way, make your
Here you
way.
go. Give you a spoon.
Make your way, make your way.
You can use the bread as like kind of to scoop it.
I have to say, for you not making this bread in over a year, it looks perfect.
Thank you.
Do you all have a spoon? Okay.
Oh, wow, sorry. I'm the worst host. Okay. Sorry.
There you go.
Here you go.
Oh, there
Sorry,
you go.
I apologize.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Taste,
I did not pay
taste.
them for the record, so. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
I think that said a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tell us, what's going through your mind right now?
So when I was in the audience, I was smelling all these aromatics, and I was like, oh my gosh. And this is actually insane. This is so good. Like whatever you were smelling, it's like 10 times better than that.
Wow. That's a statement. Okay, what do you think?
I think like this dish is more in depth about the flavors, and there's like different ingredients and the act that there is in the chickpeas.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, Alexander.
Oh, it is delicious. I love like the sauce is like, it's like a little bit creamy and it's just really nice with the chickpeas and the spices. Coriander I've been experimenting with a lot recently, so that's wonderful. And the opportunity to try finger millet is really special.
Yes.
I've never had it before and I've always wanted to, so thank you.
You're welcome.
That was so lovely. Okay, what are you thinking about this?
I think it has a really good flavor complex, and I was kind of scared watching you make the little pancake things on the screen, but they taste really good.
Thank you. You were scared I'd mess it up, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair. I like honesty.
Wow, well, look, we have two amazing chefs who lead with bravery, with courage, with passion, with joy in the work that they both do. Chef Eitan, follow Chef Eitan, Chef Sanaa, check out her restaurant. Thank you to our lovely taste testers, and thank all of you for being here today. Before we go, I would love to hear from our chefs. One thing that you would encourage our audience here today to do, something practical to continue the work in ending hunger, or anything that you want to share with our audience. Any last thoughts?
Want to go first?
Well, for me, you know, like I said, I'm from the East, and I came to South Dakota, and all my friends, everybody, they said, black pepper is too spicy for South Dakota. Are you out of your mind? But, you know, give the people a chance. Don't be afraid to try new ingredient, to introduce a new ingredient, and they surprise you. Like I said, we do this food, lentil things, and we survived 22 years, and actually we did better during COVID. So don't be afraid to introduce a new ingredient and try new ingredient wherever you are.
Great advice, great advice. I love that. And Chef Eitan, yes, round of applause.
Sorry, mouthful of chickpeas. I think for me, something that I've tried to always stick with myself whenever I'm doing anything in the food space or specifically food insecurity space is to remember, other than just getting people food and helping people have more nutrition, dignity is so important. It's something that I think has inspired me most with the organizations that I work with, whether it's City Harvest or the World Food Program. You know, getting the people the food in a dignified way is so important. And, you know, even as a storyteller, when I try to, you know, when I go and travel somewhere, you know, making sure that I am able to allow the person to tell their story in a dignified way. I come in as someone just eager to learn. I think that that's so important, and it's something I try to remind myself of, because just like, you know, we're dignified when we go to a nice restaurant and eat a meal, someone who's getting food assistance should feel just as dignified when they're eating their food.
Absolutely. Round of applause. Round of applause. Chefs, meet me on the front of the stage. You all are welcome to stay or take your plates. We've had such a lovely time with all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the incredible work that you all do every single day to change the world. I'm Lazarus Lynch, and have a great rest of the day.